Peace and blessings. What's going on? I know the lighting is real dark right now. I'm actually in my car on my way to work. It's raining. It's a beautiful night. I haven't been posting any live videos over the last week or so because of the death of Nipsey Hussle. It had a real big impact on the community, and everybody was posting something about him, showing their respect. I didn't want to speak out of turn. I didn't want to speak too early, and I didn't want to speak without dealing with all the emotions I was going through, because it was a huge loss for the community, huge loss for the art form of hip-hop. And we lost a great soul. Essentially what I wanted to communicate to everybody today was my thoughts on what it is to pass and what death is. This is something that's uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about, and it's something that I had to struggle with over the years. You know, I lost a lot of people who I grew up with, lost a lot of relatives, so I had to sit and contemplate and deal with a lot of death over the course of my life. And I started studying a lot of different spiritual systems, and I started studying science and looking into quantum physics, and just basically looking into what we call space and what we call time. And I came to the realization that our ancient ancestors, who, you know, they worshiped the ancestors as gods. They worshipped the forces of nature. They worshipped the elements of the universe and the supreme consciousness. And when you see them, they didn't have no fear of death. You know, in different cultures, your culture has a real big impact on what you believe is scientifically real and scientifically true. And you realize that in these ancient cultures, especially in Africa, it wasn't unusual for somebody to lose a loved one to death and then go outside the next day and see their loved one that they lost, that passed away, standing in their front yard. They believe that the ancestors are always around. And if you study ancient African spirituality, you realize that this belief and this continuous connection to the ancestors is a major part of our original belief system, our pre-colonial belief system. They didn't fear death. They didn't fear death. They didn't back down from death because of first and foremost, they were one with nature. They didn't see themselves in a conflict with nature. They didn't see themselves in a conflict with the universe. They understood these universal principles existed within them and around them. So there was no fear of the universe and no fear of the unknown. And also, our ancient African ancestors, they understood that death was a transition, that it was an opportunity for us to transform into a different state and transition from one state of being to another state of being, whatever you call that. Some people believe that we have a spirit, some believe that we have a soul, some people believe that the body is all we have. But no matter what your belief system is, at the end of the day, death is always a transition. You could not believe in an afterlife and still understand that death is a transition, that your body will go from one state to a different state, and that you will, in essence, be reborn. The molecules in your body the molecules in your body are going to get broken down to atoms, and then get broken down even to subatomic particles, and then it will still exist, just in a different state. The information that you have in your body, your DNA, the essence of who you are, will still exist in your offspring. It will continue, and it will go into nature. So when the wind blows, when the trees grow, when the sun shines, all of that is a reflection of the essence of your body being brought back forth into you. But on an even deeper level, understand that your body is really an illusion. Your body, when you think about it, is just empty space. Your body is made up of trillions of atoms. But even within those atoms, you have the electron, the proton, and the neutron. And even within that is all just mostly empty space. The electrons around the nucleus of the atom are moving so rapidly that it creates the illusion of solid matter. But really, what you consider solid matter, your body, is just an illusion. And the only thing that is holding this illusion together is your consciousness. Your consciousness is wearing this body as an avatar. It is wearing this body as a garment of flesh. But really, it is the consciousness that is the true you. That is you. And that is, in my personal beliefs, the consciousness is indestructible, and it can't escape the death of the flesh. It continues, and it returns when the body is done. The body returns to the earth and returns back to the elements from which it came forth, and the consciousness returns back into the consciousness of the Supreme. The universe is divine consciousness, and there's an infinite consciousness even beyond the universe, because even the universe is nothing but empty space. Even the universe then is an illusion. The body is just an illusion that the spirit is wearing. And that's why I no longer fear death. Death can be painful when you see somebody you love die in a painful fashion. And death can be painful when someone dies at a young age. And death can be painful when somebody loses their life before they can realize their true divine potential. But death in and of itself doesn't scare me. When I think about the death of a loved one, that scares me, because I hope that they got everything they needed to get out of this plane of existence before they transition to the next plane. You know, before they become an ancestor, I want them to live this life to the fullest. That's the only thing that really scares me in regards to death. It's the death of loved ones, the death of myself not realizing my dreams. That's what really scares me. But other than that, it's all illusory. I don't believe that death is real. Death is an abstraction. Like trying to define what consciousness is, you know, death is the exact same thing. It's the opposite of consciousness. And trying to define clearly what death is and how it works and how it operates within the body is, you know, it's an abstract idea that don't necessarily have to be real. I don't necessarily think that death is a real thing. At least that's my perception. You might disagree completely. Some people out there might believe in heaven or hell and things of that nature. I believe that the heaven and hell are just states of mind, states of the consciousness. Everything is a state of consciousness. You know, the consciousness, you know, comes forth from the supreme consciousness. You call it God or the universe or the supreme self. That consciousness brings forth other consciousness. That consciousness is an omni-consciousness that exists within all of us as our own individual consciousness. Then we manifest the body. I can remember, because remember the cells inside a woman's womb, the unity of the masculine and the feminine cells, they come together, they manifest the body, but they all originate from consciousness. Those cells bring forth the body out of pure consciousness, out of pure nothingness. And that manifests itself and then breaks down at death and goes back into a state of consciousness. But consciousness creates everything. And as long as you tap into that real consciousness, the true consciousness, which exists beyond emotions, it exists beyond the body, and it even exists beyond the mind, into a state of consciousness, into a level of awareness that we're not in tune with as of yet. We have to struggle to become in tune with that. And once you become in tune with that, you won't fear death anymore. Consciousness is the creator. And as long as there is consciousness, as long as there is a creator, that means that the self, the real self, your true self, will continue to be. Just like a drop of water gets absorbed into the ocean, just like the flesh gets absorbed into the earth, you know, the mind gets absorbed into culture. Consciousness goes back to the source of consciousness, the creator, the supreme. So the magnificent thing is that I don't believe that death is real. But the true glory is understanding that you could tap into that divine supreme consciousness while you're still alive. You don't have to wait until the body decays for you to tap into the supreme consciousness of the universe. Tap into that now by understanding the levels of the mind, by looking within yourself. Stop looking outside of yourself for that which you already are. And you won't fear death anymore either. Peace and blessings.